This is a problem.
This is the Grow Business Podcast with Cory Mosley.
Is it like you want sound extra? And you're like, I mean, because mine's practical.
Okay, got
so
you.
mine's practical use.
I know.
That's good. That's good. You've got some accoutrement on there because it would be empty if you didn't have it.
That's true.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Hello. You know where you're at. You are at the right place. Don't mind our nonsense in the beginning. You're at the right place. This is the Grow Business Podcast. Willie H is not ready with his sound effects yet. Willie H. Well, I said Grow Business Podcast. Okay, there we go. Now, for those of you that are not watching us on YouTube right now, not streaming us, if you are, you know that there's something different this week. Very specifically, we've called an audible for this week here, and we have a guest co-host joining us that you'll hear from in just a moment. If you're on YouTube, the cat's already out of the bag already. But if you're streaming us on Apple, Google Play, where else? Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, we're everywhere now. And that's thanks to all of you guys who keep coming back every week. So I appreciate that and joining us. You know this voice, though. It's me. It's Cory Mosley. Yeah, there we go. And the guy hitting the buttons, as you know him, is Willie H.
Hit the buttons, William.
Yes, that was very low, William.
Hit the buttons, William.
There we go. We got to work with him. But my surprise guest and our guest host today, who I'm introducing, is none other than Barbara H. Smith. Don't forget the H, because, you know, when people put the middle initial in their media stuff, that means they want it in there, right?
That's right.
Yeah, that means they're trying to tell you that. So, yeah, Barbara H. Smith. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, we're training him. We're only like 50 episodes in, but he's still trying to figure out. Barbara H. Smith is here. She runs a training company, helps CEOs, managers, and entrepreneurs overcome, communicate more effectively, be more confident. 3-time book author, really expert in communications. And that's what we talk about today. That's why I wanted to have you. Barbara, welcome to the Grow Business Podcast.
Thank you so much, Cory, for having me.
Yes, I even know that you've listened to a few.
Absolutely have.
Okay.
Absolutely have.
Well, thank you.
I appreciate it.
We're looking for all the viewers that we want, that we can get right now. So it's super exciting here. And if you have listened, you know very typically, you don't get the topic.
That's right.
You don't get the topic.
Surprise!
Yeah, you don't get the topic here. So people think we make that up. No, we don't make it up. There's rare instances where we know the topic. But I can give you a little hint. Because you're an expert in communication, you work in corporate America, you work with corporate executives, executive coaching, all the things that you do. We are going to talk about communication. So now you've got the wheelhouse, right?
That helps.
Do you feel safer?
Oh, I felt safe walking in the room.
Okay.
It's
you never
Cory
know.
Mosley.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you never know what we're going to talk about, though. So
It's okay.
That's, if I started talking about quantum physics,
We would have a problem.
both of us would have a problem actually. But I have my computer which is actually working, and then you have your iPad that's just sitting there looking nice. So she's trying to. I didn't tell you to tell nobody on this iPad. That's okay. Most people stream the audio anyway, so you have nothing to worry about. But I'm super excited today because we are going to talk about communication. But there was something interesting in some of the work that you were doing in particular, in the conversation we were having, that was like, boom, light bulb moment. Mm-hmm. This is what we're going to do. And I think it's going to be super interesting. I want to talk today about how to communicate effectively across different generations inside a small business, because we have so many different things going on now. And I'm not just talking about, so don't tune out just because you don't have 50 employees. That doesn't mean you don't work with people.
That's right.
Many of us have freelance teams that we work with. We outsource certain aspects, and we still need to communicate with all those people. If you have a virtual assistant, it doesn't really matter.
That's right.
So what does matter, though, is getting everybody on the same page, communicating in ways that, are effective across the board. But Barbara, I also got to think business owners don't want to wear themselves out trying to, like, I'm not just going to start sending emojis because I've got some Gen Zs or some millennial people working for me. So, so we're going to share with you, we've got 7, and the trouble when we try to get to 7 points on our show is sometimes it gets off the rails in terms of how long it takes. So we're going to shoot for 7, and we're going to see where we can get.
Okay.
Okay, does that
Fair
make
enough.
sense?
Yeah.
All right. So I want to start. Let's just start. I want to get your thoughts before I get into the bullet points of things. Let's just get let's just talk, communication and what are some things that, are important when we're talking about internal teams, internal environments, trying to get somebody on the same page. We're in this virtual, environment. We're in the co-working, in the office one day, no office, 5 days. There's a lot going on out there in the small business world. So pick up anywhere you like to start.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, again, thank you so much for
of course.
allowing me to be a co-host with you.
Yeah, of course.
But when you're talking communication across the board, you have to know that there are different modalities.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are visual communicators. Some people talk with their hands. I'm one of those.
Sure.
Some people, when you're talking to them,
My wife's like that.
yes.
Talks with her hands even when there's no reason to do it.
Well, why is there never a reason to do it?
Well, just some things do we need our hands flying around to talk about getting strawberries from the grocery store?
Those are nonverbal communication clues, and that was
Okay.
where I was going.
Okay.
That was a great segue.
Okay, go ahead.
Because sometimes it's not the words. 90% of the time, it's not the words that are said that is communicative.
Right.
It's the words that are not said.
So what does the waving the hands mean? So you've got hand motions right now. I've got hand motions. What are we doing with all these hand motions?
You are expressing yourself in multimodal way.
Moding.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And everybody doesn't emote the same.
Yeah.
But it's the things that people don't say that are most important. But you've got to know how to read what people are saying. And that is all on the person who is doing the communication. Because truly, when you communicate, you send out a message that you intend to have a certain meaning.
Okay.
That
right.
doesn't necessarily mean that the receiver is receiving the meaning you want them to get.
So one of the things I think when the church say amen, there you go. There you go. There you go.
That was
Willie.
pretty good.
Yeah, that's really good. Well, we're pretty good at this here.
I wasn't expecting
Willie
this.
Willie H has not had lunch, so I don't know. Hey, sometimes he just goes catatonic. So let's see how it goes. See how it goes today.
You're gonna have me busted up laughing the
Yeah,
whole
this is
time.
good. Well, this is how this works. So we're here. We're here. This is edutainment.
All right, I'm good.
We want you to be entertained. We don't want people falling asleep because we're just talking about bullet points. But so much of life and what we do here at the show is really just based on things that are happening already.
Right.
You're talking about some things that maybe you were working with your last client about.
Yes.
Monday, right? And then now you come in a few days later or whatever. We're doing this, and we're looking at those different circumstances here because generationally,
Yes.
thought processes are different.
Absolutely.
Right? There was a time when no news was a good news from your employer. If your supervisor, manager, or owner was not communicating with you, that meant everything was
stuff.
fine.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
And the problem, though, is as we go down the generational line, we learn some things.
Lord have mercy.
Absolutely.
See, shout out to Lon Graham, who's not here this week, but he's here wherever we are. That's his voice there, because he's the voice of reason. But we have this thing now, as you go further down the spectrum, where some of these millennials, really Gen Zs, more of them, we're past millennials now, they go into panic.
When they don't know.
If you're not communicating something
Right,
to
if
them,
they
like
don't
doing
know.
a good job, bad job, how is this? Now, we'll have a whole nother episode on how, many of them want to be the supervisor after 2 days of work, right? So it reminds me, I know you had to watch the show Martin. It reminds me, when I think about that, I think of the episode when he was coming back from, being at the Najee Rumba place when he went away, and he had to get jobs, right? The radio station had changed, and he was doing all these jobs, and he would come home mad every day. Oh, you got fired from the Hoochie Burger. That was you got fired from the Hoochie Burger. Well, I flipped all the burgers I could flip. They could have at least bumped me up to head flipper. Like, and then he came home with the mail. Do you remember the one he came home with the mail and he dropped all the mail down? He says, "I've been there 3 days. You could have at least made me head mailman."
Yeah, it's crazy, the expectation, right?
Yes. So, okay. We've got this. We lead like we were led. We train like we were trained.
Right.
We may run our business how we learn. We supervise how we were supervised.
Right.
Unless we fight our way out of that.
To learn more. To learn differently.
And to learn differently. What are some of those signals? What are some of those things that people should be looking for? How do we start to work on bridging this gap?
Well, there are a number of ways that we do it at BHS and Associates. First of all, what is the end game? What do you want this person or persons to do? Okay. And then what are they good at? Ask them. That's the part that I want to say boomers for me.
Okay.
We were
hold
told.
it there. I ain't,
We were
I ain't there
told.
yet. I ain't even close to that.
We were told what to do and we just did it.
Right.
That is not today. This is not that. And that is not this. And so what you have to do is understand that there are different communication strategies and different communication methods and modalities. And so when you want to communicate, ask them, do you prefer text messages? Do you prefer email? Do you prefer face-to-face? Do you prefer a phone call? And then you have to be okay with it. That's the part.
Right.
Because I prefer you pick up the phone.
Yeah.
Just call me.
And then you have people that don't.
Then you have the asynchronous communication instead of I send a message and it may not be what you thought I said, and now you're mad.
Happens every day.
All the time.
Text, right? Particularly.
Text is the worst.
Yeah. So from a business perspective, what am I trying to accomplish though then? Am I trying to, does that mean I need to add? Meaning if I'm communicating a message, if I'm trying to show leadership, what am I doing? Do I need to make sure I email, text,
Not in all cases.
send the video?
Not in all cases. What I propose is when we have more than one generation, we typically have more than 2 or 3 employees.
Right.
There are people who are in charge, if you will, of making sure that the information gets to the employees.
So let's do a break. Let's just give clarity because we've got the data here. So let's give clarity. So generationally right now, workplace. Okay. So you mentioned boomers. So baby boomers, 1946 to 1964. Gen X, my generation, 65 to 80. That sounds like a stretch.
That's years.
But yeah.
In
1965 to, yeah, you definitely are Gen A. Yeah. 1965 to 1980. Millennials, Gen Y, which people talked about ad nauseum, 81 to 96. And then Z, 97 to 2012, date of, birth date, right? So
birth dates.
97 to 2012.
Right.
So looking at that, right, we've got 4 generations
Of people in the workforce.
right that could be in the workforce. I guess 2012 you're a little not quite
Not quite there.
Yeah. I mean, not in America at least, but save your mail, folks, save your email. But 97, right? 02, whatever, my nephew's generation Z, right? 2002. So now you're trying to serve all these different. Now people talk about, obviously, as the leader of an organization, as a founder, a CEO, as a business owner, president, whatever you want, owner, operator, whatever you like, your employees don't work for you. You work for your employees,
That's right.
To now create that growth opportunity. Because I don't run nothing around here, apparently. I can't even, I get told where to sit, how to turn. That's a whole nother episode. So now I'm trying to serve these audiences. So talk to us about that. Give me some of these nuggets. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it.
Yeah. I'm going to get to the 7, but I want you to set the table.
When you have that many different generations in the same space, you have to emit different types of communication styles. So you can see the not light bulbs or the non-light bulbs going off when you speak to a person. Most of the time, especially Gen X, Gen Z, they're not even going to look at you. They're so used to looking down at their phones.
Right.
And they're used to not really being verbal. So you have to have a different mode of communication with them.
Okay, but how much of this do I have to
You don't have to do any of it.
Well, at what point does this have to be, hey, this is the process of my company? Right, I can't. Lord, I can't check all these boxes. I can't do this because you can get into further trouble. Now we're in the world of pronouns.
Yes.
You get in trouble.
Yes.
I was mortified. I was doing an interview a couple years ago when I was on TV, when I was on CBS, and we were interviewing a person that was in a play that was coming to town. And it's on the sheet, it's on the sheet. The person is clearly by physical appearance, a woman, in terms of features. So people don't come at me with this stuff. But I explain it. So from physical appearance, right? That's what it perceived. And I made it through the whole interview with no mistakes. I was really just focused on saying the name. If I was going to use the name, just say the name, then I don't have to worry about getting that wrong.
Right.
And there was a little bit of ad lib with me and my other co-host.
Oh boy.
With the person. It was a little bit of ad lib. And I said, I'm sure she's got a lot of stories. And I was mortified in my head, right?
Wrong answer.
I was mortified, like going through it, but it's live television, so I can't stop. And, everybody kind of just, and they did not make I got to catch it now. They did not make they didn't stop the interview. I mean, it's live television. So it wasn't a big deal. And they have grace. I think most people will give you grace in this world. We don't get that right out of the shoot. But I was like mortified. And, but the crew, there were a couple of people in the crew that were like, it wasn't intentional. That, it's like your heart was in the right place. Like I wasn't like bucking the system.
But you see how
sometimes you just get it wrong.
Yeah, but that's exactly the point. You want to do all of these different modalities in communication, but sometimes you just get it wrong.
Yeah.
Because you're not really sure. But that's what we help you do. We come in and show you this is what happens when you have to make the persons feel like they're worth being with your company. Now, your company may have a standard of communication. They may do communication a certain way. They may just send email. They just may send text. They may do a short video. But here is the more important thing with communication. Are you communicating to your employees or people that work with you, your coworkers, your peers, that they matter?
Okay.
So how do you make them feel like they matter?
I think you just got to number one. Number one on my list is foster an inclusive culture.
That's
I think that's where you're going right now, or you started there already, but go ahead.
So how do you do that? It's just as simple as ASK. Ask. What is it that you want to do?
I thought there was an acronym coming. I thought
Ask, seek, and knock.
Yeah, what is it?
Ask, seek, and knock.
Oh, What?
Knock.
Knock. Oh, ask, seek, knock. Okay, so there is an acronym.
Yes.
Oh, okay. See, I was right. I thought for a minute. I mean, you can't be that simple. She's communications trainer, speaker. We got acronyms for everything. That's how we. Okay,
how we work.
Got it. Yeah.
Ask, seek, knock. Knock on the door. It'll be open.
Ask, seek, knock.
Ask and it will be given. Seek and you'll find.
That sounds biblical.
It is.
Oh, okay. Listen, the Bible is in my house, but I can't tell you. Hold on.
This is too much for me.
The Bible's in my house, but I'm glad. I'm very proud of myself that I felt that out. That was biblical. I'm like, that was biblical right there. I can't tell you nay page that you were supposed to go to for that, but that's
Doesn't
biblical.
matter.
Okay,
you know
beautiful. Okay, even better. We got some biblical principles here in communication.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when you ask a person, what is it that why did you even come to this company? What is it that you want from the company?
Yeah.
Now, we should always be, what can I do to help?
Right.
But that's not always the case. But if you want a great communication strategy, ask on entry, why did you come to this company? What is it? What values do you have that line up, that are aligned with what we do here? Once you discover what they want and that their input is important and valuable,
right,
that's a communication strategy. Now, what you do with that afterwards is a whole nother.
Now, how does this, okay, so I want to know how, we've talked employee. How does this apply, though, if I'm building, let's say, a freelancer network? I'm very common right now, right? So where I might have some virtual assistants, I might have, some freelancers on my creative team. Social media is a big place that people outsource because it's expensive to build an in-house team for the average small business owner. How do I apply some of these principles to that world too?
Perfect question. As a matter of fact, I have an example.
Good.
I'm a small business.
Yep.
I use a freelancer on Upwork for my web material, my website.
Okay.
This freelancer is from a whole different country.
Sure.
There is a language barrier. So to communicate, his English is perfect.
Right.
On paper.
Okay.
He understands it well, but
and even sometimes the reference points, are not like even slang that you might use.
I don't even bother with the slang dealing with this person. But here's what I've found: he loves the autonomy. He loves being asked, what do you think we should do about this?
Okay.
I have some of the best work now because I wasn't dictating what he should do.
Yes.
I would give him guidelines.
Because if you were an expert at that, you just do it.
It's not my lane.
Right, exactly.
It's your lane. That's why I hired you.
Yeah, correct.
And I'm totally not a micromanager.
Yeah.
So here's what I have. This is my thoughts. What are your thoughts? And he came back to me not even weeks ago, months ago, years ago, and said, you know what I love about working with you? You let me use my creative genius.
Right.
Communication.
Yeah.
Just what do you think?
Well, I was just having this conversation with Willie H. We were having a conversation about a shot. And I'm like, I'm not a studio producer, a videographer.
Right.
Like, hey, what do you, we'll do whatever you want to do. Well, I know that at the end result, but like, I want to at least hear what you have to say.
Communication.
Now, I have super voting powers here inside my organization, a super majority.
Yeah.
That's funny, by the way, but
okay, got it.
I have a super majority here. But I still want to hear, right, from the people that are in the position that this is what they're supposed to be doing every day or getting better at it.
They're the professional at it.
Yeah, exactly.
They have the skill set.
Yeah.
I'm not a videographer.
Now, how do you feel though in a freelance environment? How do you feel? What role does inclusivity play? What is that?
Well, inclusivity to me means the people.
Because you're the client in that scenario.
Right. In that scenario, I am the client.
Right.
But
they're still part of your team.
I'm also, I was just going to say that. You just took the words. I also I have the supermajority.
Right.
I'm the one who says, nah, we're not doing that.
Right.
But including him in the decision making, like we have this big project coming up in October, the Sisters Inspire Sisters to Advance event that comes up in October 25, 26, 27. And he did the entire, I gave him the guidelines.
Right.
This is what I need here. This is what I need here. This is what I need you to explain. But it includes him as well as other team members that we have across the world. It includes their input. And that's most important to all generations right now. Everyone wants to know that their input is valued.
But, okay. But, what if you don't know what you're talking about? Right, that's the problem. Everybody's got an opinion. That doesn't mean the opinion's good.
That's correct. But you, as the leader of the organization, knows what's good and what's not good. Garbage in is garbage out.
Well, I don't want to take you down an HR lane because I know that
No.
but I'm going to ask. But I feel like it's a natural conversation though. Is
you have to hire the right talent.
But if somebody has a history of not knowing what they're talking about, it's kind of like you're just in the meeting, like you don't talk.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we're human, so right. We don't do fluffy here at the podcast. No. Right. We're human, so there's people that are inside an organization sometimes that,
that's why you have an agenda,
not heard. What is it? Be seen, not heard.
Yes. That's why you have an agenda and a facilitator.
Okay.
Is this going off the rail?
Yeah.
Let's table that for another time.
Right.
And that's a whole
That's a skill.
Yes. Oh.
Yeah, that's a skill.
Not only is it a skill.
Being the boss does not give you de facto powers just by title.
Say that again, slow.
Yeah.
For the people in the back.
They're going to have to rewind it because I only give you these nuggets. Willie H. hit them.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah. So, those nuggets come. But management guru Tom Peters, I quote him on this. He says most of the time people have the wrong idea about the decision maker in an organization. The decision maker isn't always the smartest and most qualified.
Most times it's not.
They're simply the person that is empowered to make the decision.
And how about, in addition to that, the leader is not always the head of the organization. You want to find out who the leader is? Watch who they look to in the meeting when a question is asked.
I like that. Yeah. And that's great, folks. Forget it, running your business. We're talking internal communications, but that's great if you're pitching. That's great in a sales scenario also. If you're doing, if you're in the corporate world, you'll be familiar with things like doing stand-up presentations, right? So you're doing a stand-up, you've got a room full of representatives from a particular company, or you're bidding on some business. That's a great tip in terms of what we call reading the room, right?
Yes,
being able to do that. Who are the people they're paying attention to? Okay. All right. Number 2, you touched on this also a little bit, but we're going to call it out specifically for people. And that is how we leverage technology in that situation. So, of course, you've got, and again, I guess stereotyping isn't bad if it's right, I think, in a lot of ways. So, what we'll talk about is, let's say, older employees maybe really like face-to-face meetings. They're used to the face-to-face interaction, or maybe email, because, that was so prolific. But then, of course, as you skew younger, now we could be talking about, of course, texting, but video conferencing, instant messaging, as a tool. So you're looking at that. So I think the goal here is, providing training and support for employees to become comfortable with new communication technology, because just because old Earl, because I don't know any young people named Earl, just because Earl likes face-to-face meetings, that may just not be the structure. We've got a virtual company.
Yes. There's very few face-to-face meetings at BHS and Associates.
So what do? Do we let Earl off the hook, or Earl's got to learn how to use Zoom like everybody else did during the pandemic, right?
And when Earl uses Zoom, we record those meetings just in case he can't figure out how to get on, and we can send it to him in an email.
I like how you just assimilated to Earl. Like now that she's like, yeah, Earl. Yeah, exactly. I love that.
Yay.
So we want to use the technology wisely, but I think it's one of the things I've seen from the marketplace is I see owners who don't want to mess with people in their company that maybe have been with them a long time. So they know they need to modernize. They know they need to move forward in different ways, but they work around these people. And I think that's something. I'm not an advocate for putting people on the unemployment line, but you can't base your business, like, you can't do that. Oh, I don't want to change this system because, Gail, that's another name I like to use, because Gail's been using this system for 30 years and it's obsolete now, but we don't want to upset, I don't want to upset Gail.
Well, that's where change management comes in. You have to have a process for the change and communicate that change. Additionally, I would suggest mentoring. Have a younger person, sit with them that they've befriended and say, hey, listen, I want to show you this latest thing.
Right.
And ask their input. What do you think about this? How will we go forward? Because we're going to use this technology.
Bro, I remember a guy retired. Retired the day we put a CRM system in the business. And this is back during my auto days working with car dealers, and we were installing a CRM, groundbreaking at the time. Not groundbreaking to the rest of the market, but this dealer was a little bit behind, but obviously was investing in consultants and people to come up. And I will never forget being inside the dealership, and the CRM was being installed, and great, now you're going to have all your database here, and hey, we want you to call customers when they've been in the service department. We want you to call them after they've been in service if you were their salesperson. And it's also going to show you the birthdays of all of your, because, that's in the database, because you got to have a driver's license with your date of birth on it. So, and then we want you to call and say happy birthday to your customers. And that man stood up and said, I'm not doing this stuff. I'm retiring. That's just dumb.
Well, my mother worked in early childhood education for the longest time, and early days before they had databases for children. And her boss came in and said, we're going to use a computer now to enter the children's information. And she says, I'm not going to do that.
Right.
And she says, and you won't be working here.
And that was the right thing.
But she learned.
Shout out, I ain't messing with your mama.
No, she learned.
Yeah. Oh, she decided to learn and not go. Yeah.
Not only did she learn, she's now online, shopping online, returning things online.
Don't get me started.
Lord have mercy.
I have been known to get on a tangent. Don't get me started on my mother and TikTok shop.
Oh, I heard about the TikTok shop.
Yeah. Okay. They were telling you all my business while we were
you didn't
before
know.
we got started. I was shooting something else before Barbara came in. But apparently they were just telling you all my business in there. Yeah. So don't get me started on TikTok shop. But yes, to your point. But that employer made the right decision.
Right.
By doing that, right?
Had to, because ask companies like, what happens when you don't pivot?
Right, of course.
Ask companies like Blockbuster.
Sure, of course.
Who?
Yeah, exactly.
When you don't pivot,
right.
When technology's moving, there's nothing constant, Cory,
You're not
change.
powerful enough. No one person is powerful enough to stop the train.
Technology.
Right. Or to stop the train. Yeah, for whatever that train is for moving. They fought, whether you think Elon Musk is brilliant or crazy or whatever, they fought Tesla, they fought him wanting to sell direct, him wanting to sell direct to people, they fought. But like you can't, we learn and adjust, like, the EV world hasn't done what they thought it was going to do yet. But,
and that's a yet, because it's coming.
But you can't. You can slow it down. If you got the juice, you can slow it down, right? If you're big enough, right? If you're the electric company, you can slow solar down, or you can slow wind. You can slow some things down.
But you better move.
If you're petroleum, you could slow EVs down.
Yeah.
But the deal's coming.
Yes.
You can the church say amen.
You can either.
Barbara's not prepared.
Totally not.
She's not prepared.
It is just crazy, and all of a sudden I'll hear amen. It's like
that's good. Lucky he didn't turn it up. It's usually at a higher volume, bleeding my ear out. So I think he undershot it a little bit this week. Okay, no, all good points. All right, I want to get to. We're only at 3. But the good news is you started laying some groundwork for these things early on. So now it's kind of a recap more than that, because number 3 is adapt communication styles, right? So and really that's just speaking to mixing it up, right?
Yes.
So emails, memos, meetings, and even social media, as a means to communicate. So you're definitely on board. You're definitely on board with that. So what is the sweet spot, though? I don't know that we've gotten enough information about, like, what is the sweet spot to, are we communicating through these different modalities to accommodate, or are we doing it as part of our strategy, right? So we send emails because 20% of our workforce are boomers. But then we send a text message because 40%. Is that accommodating, or is that a strategy?
Well, it could be both. It could be both. And here's the thing. When you send email, you're not sending the same as a text message. So it's a different
I might send you a text message to check the email. Right?
It's possible. But
I do that. If I send a contract to somebody,
listen,
I text them and let them know I sent the contract, and I will drop the link in the text message just in case the email, because I ain't trying to hear that. I'm sitting in the spam. I didn't get it.
Cory, that's exactly what I'm talking about. You just use 2 different modalities, and I use a third. If we're connected on LinkedIn and I can't get you on a text message and something's important.
We did that. We emailed, we LinkedIn, sure.
So that was our communication strategy. We didn't give up, though. That's the point.
Okay.
You and I were supposed to meet. I text you on LinkedIn. It didn't happen. I didn't get a response. I emailed you. We missed the Zoom.
I was trying to push the time, but I wrote push the day. Like I didn't push the whole week out.
And so
you're like, I'm not going to be available. I'm like, you ain't going to be available in 15 minutes. And then I went back and reread it because you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to be out. So we'll have to push it to next week. And I'm like, I'm just running 15 minutes behind. You didn't go on. You in a whole other state in 15 minutes.
Yeah, it was just on the border of Virginia and North Carolina, you know. But that's a pure point to what we're talking about. We made it work because we chose to use different modalities.
And we found the way to, and we kept finding it.
We kept doing it till we got it.
Right.
And it's the same thing that employers, employees, and peers have to work things out communicatively. You have to want to do it. You have to have some want to. And we wanted to make this happen.
Right. Yep. And we did. Okay, 4. You talked about this too. This is good. You were kind of ahead of the game here. You might be pretty good at this stuff. You might really be the expert here, right? We only bring the best and brightest experts. All right, number 4, promote open and transparent communication.
Oh my gosh.
So encourage open dialogue, but also create channels for employees to voice their opinions and concerns freely. So, they'll talk about things like town halls and forums, and I know you facilitate these kinds of things also. What are your thoughts on that piece? Like, to me, it's almost, it's the old school suggestion box that has really disappeared in a lot of ways.
And it should be brought back. If it's truly transparent and anonymous. Not only that, it's does no good if it's transparent, if it's anonymous, and then you don't do anything with it. So you put this feature together that says, we want to hear from our employees. We want to survey. We're gonna have a town hall and discuss the results. You discuss the results and then you don't do anything. Right. You've just lost credibility, and they're not going to do it again.
That's just dumb.
Truly.
There you go. Yeah, it's just dumb. Because, and now you've got there's no excuse because you have these technologies. Shout out to Stephen Moore, CEO, co-founder of Culture Booster. They're really doing a lot of great things in that space. Something for you to look up. Great technology that's going in and helping deliver that and also create measurement.
Yes.
That's what I think is interesting. Also create measurement because, what are the KPIs and these type of things when you start thinking about engaged employees, disengaged employees, that process. Lack of communication, I think, is a big one
Top
you talked about. Also feeling. Now,
here we go.
Well,
he's going in.
Okay, no, I'm only saying this because, and I just speak for, I'm very if I have a strong opinion on something, but there's a woo-woo aspect out there to. I'm not diminishing it, but I'm just speaking to it, to feeling seen and feeling heard and those things. What does that really mean?
Well, what it means is suppose I work for Cory Mosley's organization, and I come to work as a trainer for your organization. I want to know that my work is valued. I want to know that I have important input. Now, it may not be a voice at the table, but
isn't that value on the 15th and the 30th?
No.
Or every other Friday?
It used to be.
Okay.
Pay me, give me my money, and I'm good. Right? But more than that is feeling like you want to get up and do this work every day. There are so many people who hate going to work.
Sure.
Why is that? What is the problem with hate? Is it your job or is it you?
Right.
Is it your work or is it your work ethic? So you decide, me, a trainer for Cory Mosley, that I don't feel valued. I get a check. My check is good.
Just enough to keep you, not enough to make you want to stay.
Yeah. That's a great one.
Yeah. Willie H., how you feel about that? Woo. When the church say amen, there you go. Sometimes I got to lead him. Sometimes he catches it. Sometimes we got to lead him in. All right, number 5, provide continuous learning and development. Offer training programs that address both technical skills and soft skills, catering to the needs of all generations. And then, of course, ensuring that these programs are also accessible and engaging for everyone. Encourage a culture of continuous learning where employees can develop new skills and stay updated with industry trends.
There are a lot of companies that don't value learning and development. That's the first thing to go on the budget.
Yeah. Right.
But the truth of the matter is, today, people want to learn more. you can't possibly know everything. But the way this, as you use the proverbial train, the way this train is moving, you've got to pick up new skills along the way or you're going to get left behind. And so you can do it on your own, leadership and development. We do it all the time as business owners. But to value your employees gives them opportunities to learn and grow. I'm working with a company right now that is, because they have downsized them so much, they're lean, like bleeding lean. And so they have no choice but to cross-train their employees, because if one of them drops off, there goes all that tacit knowledge. And no one else knows how to, yeah. And so it is important, it's extremely important to, even if you're doing self-development, but for corporations, companies, small, medium, or large.
I'm going to tell you a secret. After hours, I come in the studio and I start learning how to push on the buttons over there, just so I know what's going on. You know, in case Willie H decides he wants to take the show on the road or something. So I come around 10 p.m. and turn on stuff. So Willie H, if you were wondering why things are messed up when you come in the morning, sometimes you turn the computer back on. That's me.
It's Cory. Cory's been in the room.
Yes.
That's hilarious.
No, ain't nobody got time for that.
That's his lane.
Willie H, you just keep doing what you know what.
Hit the buttons, Willie.
That's right. Exactly.
Hit the buttons, Willie.
Yeah, they have to, and I encourage you, if you see Willie H out, he loves to be called Willie H. He loves people to scream Willie H when they see him. Yeah, Barbara H. Is that what they say? Barbara H?
Yeah,
Barbara H. Willie H. Hey! The learning thing, because from a owner standpoint, from a leader standpoint, your commitment to growth, right? So that management, communicating, these are skills. If you want growth and you want retention, because that's what we're after, right? Everybody wants a lower turnover. If you want retention, then it can be my way or the highway. No doubt. You can do that. But that's certainly not advantageous to your growth. But also, saying, well, they work for me, so they need to mold into my management style. And that's okay if you've got a great management style. If you're Jack Welch. Right. Not okay if you're Chainsaw Al Dunlop, the guy that went through and bankrupted Sunbeam and bankrupted this company and all these other things. He built a great pool, though, for himself. There was a profile they did on him. But like, if it's my way or the highway, if you've got a bad management style, a bad management system, then, that's no good.
It's not going to help you.
But yeah, so,
or your company.
As a business owner, when's the last communication class you've been to? What's the last course you've attended on internal communications or interviewing skills, or, when's the last time you've done that? And that's the scary part, is a lot of that stuff goes not just for financial reasons, but just goes in the back burner because they think they don't need it. Oh,
they don't need it. Or they say they don't have time.
I've been doing this for 20 years, Barbara. I know how to manage people.
That's the problem. You've been doing it for 20 years and you haven't changed anything. Right. And the life is around you is changing constantly.
What is it? Some people live the same day 70 times. Some people live 70 years, but some people live the same day 70 times. Yeah.
70 years.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. I messed it all up, but you get the gist of what I'm saying. That's it. Yeah. Everybody knows what I'm saying here. Somebody will email me. This was the correct quote, Cory.
Hold on, Buckaroo.
Yeah, exactly. All right, number 6. We're going to land the plane. I think we're going to get to 7. Number 6, establish clear goals and expectations. Ensure that all employees understand the company's goals and their role in achieving them. Clearly communicate expectations and provide regular updates on progress. Use visual aids such as charts, dashboards, or infographics to help convey information clearly and effectively.
Yes, and yes, because we are visual beings.
Yeah.
We like to see things rather than hear them or read them in writing. So when you feel like you understand where the company vision is and where it's going, and you have a part in that, it makes for a more solid communication style. It makes for a more congruent company, employee, interaction. And people like to know, where are we going?
Yeah.
It's like getting in your car and just driving with no destination. No one does that. So why do you expect? You expect to go somewhere,
Right.
even if it's just to the local market and back.
Right.
So you want to give them direction in that way. That's how you give your employees or your coworkers or your spouse direction. Where are we going with this?
Right.
Driving the ship and just like a sail, just not having any direction, not having any.
Well, that's certainly
fuel
not
behind
we probably wouldn't consider that a leadership trait for certain.
For certain.
Aimlessly. Okay, I like it. And those expectations, it would seem that you would probably support some of those expectations being collective, or there being a collective aspect to it, right? So it's understanding roles and responsibilities, but having people, you talked about, being in the right position. I can have all the requirements that I want for something to happen. I can say, I want my sales team, I want 100 dials a day.
Yeah.
But if they're not properly trained,
How to get them done.
right, on how to get them done or executing, they're not going to enjoy it. They may not just have capacity. I want 100 emails that you need to hand type, right? They may not have the capacity to do that. So I think you'd agree it's important also for the goals and expectations to be
Aligned.
Yeah. I like that better, because reasonable is subjective.
That's correct.
Right? I think you can make 100 calls a day. You don't think you can.
And then what's in it for me?
Right.
That's the question that people always want to know. Why am I doing this? Because you get a check on the 1st and the 15th.
Right.
Well,
and like they told their mom back in the day, if you ain't going to do this, you ain't going to be here.
Right.
Right. Okay, he's gotten a little. I haven't heard that one before.
so now you were surprised.
Yeah, Willie H has too much free time. All right, let's get to number 7. We're going to wrap up.
All right.
Great tips, by the way.
Okay. I'm glad.
Super valuable, and we want, because it's important for us. We want everybody to be able to come away. It's like when we talk about these 7 things, which you've touched on and expounded on, but it's boom, boom, boom. Like, you've got tangible notes. I want people taking tangible notes here, being entertained, of course, but taking tangible notes. And then number 7, again, you were
ahead of the game.
You were on your game here. I mean, and you did not see any of this. You had no idea. But this is just
I
a
was
testament.
kind of a little miffed by not knowing something about it. But you did give me a clue. Communication. I'm good at that.
You covered it up well. Your disdain for not knowing. All right, number 7, which you touched on. This is great. Just a testament to your expertise. Encourage team collaboration and intergenerational projects. So you spoke to this about having, putting a millennial or Gen Z with a boomer or Gen Xer in scenarios. Mm-hmm. So creating opportunities for employees from different generations to work together on projects. So being intentional about that, making it not something that just happens. So facilitate team building activities and workshops that emphasize collaboration and communication skills. I can't help but think in my head, I'm like, come to the next meeting with a tape deck.
It might
this is a cassette player.
Oh, you reminded me of something when you said that.
Tell me.
On J-Lo's show.
Okay.
Not J-Lo. J-Hud.
Oh, okay. Jennifer Hudson.
Jennifer Hudson's show. She had her nephew come in.
Okay.
And she had a rotary dial telephone.
Uh-huh. She was playing name this thing or?
No.
Oh.
She had a Rolodex next to it. Okay. So some people may not know what that is.
No.
All right. So she says to her nephew, use this. Let me see you dial the number 757-254. And he goes, is it a telephone?
It was a rotary
dial.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So she said, yeah, it's a phone. He said, it looks like, it's got a hand to it. It looks like a phone. So he put his finger in the one and was pushing it back.
The nephew.
He's like 22.
Oh, okay.
20 or something like that.
Okay, this is okay.
This is somebody that,
should. They don't have to recognize that to know what to do. But go ahead.
But he didn't know what to do with it. He knew he could recognize it was a phone, and he started going backwards. And she was hysterical laughing. He said, "Do you know what this is?" And he said, "Some cards on a spindle." She said, "Yeah, there's your contact list." So the point being, you might want to bring some things back,
right? That
as a connection, we know what they are,
right?
Do they know what they are?
Right.
Some, like my 6-year-old great nephew, grew up with a cell phone in his hand. 3 months old, he was pressing buttons.
Right.
3 months.
Right.
I didn't see a cell phone till. Never mind.
That's a different. Well, hold on.
So yes, you want to answer your question. You want to team together those that are of different generations and see what happens.
Yeah.
Create distinct projects for them to work on together, and you would be surprised at the innovation that comes up between the two.
Well, as my grandfather used to say, he's been my age. I've never been his age.
Ooh, I love that. It's the truth.
It's powerful stuff. Well, I think we did it.
We did it.
I think we did it. We got through the 7, and yeah, that was good.
Thank you so much.
You feeling good?
I am.
I'm glad you got that. It was fantastic having you here today and having you pour in and kind of co-host.
I loved it
today, and really talk about communications, an area that I've known you for almost a decade. So I know this is an area
that long.
Yeah.
So where did we first meet?
National Speakers Association.
National Speakers Association.
Yeah, National Speakers Association, Virginia chapter. Small but mighty.
Shout out to Virginia chapter.
Yeah, we are here. So I think, and just watching that process and watching you help so many people internationally, globally, not just on the home front, but across the country and communicating. And I thank you for pouring into us today, your skills.
It's been my pleasure.
Yes. Barbara H. Smith, everybody.
And don't forget the H.
I ain't messing with her. As always, before we get out of here, we want to thank you for doing what you do. Thank you for your viewership. The reason we are able to do what we do is because you do what you do. And as a business owner, we're here to do one thing. We're here to help you grow your business. That's the name of the podcast. So wherever you stream us, Spotify, Google Play, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and streaming on YouTube. If you'd like to see our lovely faces, you can continue to do that. And we continue to ask you to share, hit those 5 stars, hit that subscribe. And if you like what you're hearing, leave a comment. If you don't, keep it to yourself. That's pretty much how we do it. So I'm Cory Mosley on behalf of Barbara H. Smith and Willie H. This has been the Grow Business Podcast. Willie H., take us out. That was good. Hit your points. Communicate.
Get it.
Yeah, that's it. Don't be shy now. Now's not time to get shy.
Get it.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm gonna put that on a t-shirt for you.
What's that?
Get it. Yeah, that's it. That's right.
Go get it.
That's what you gotta tell them sometimes. Just to go get it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting that people don't think they need communication skills.
Yeah. Crazy.
They don't. I mean, you're a speaker. I'm a speaker.
Yep.
We get it.
Yep.
But there are so many people that think I know how to talk. Yeah,
right. I know how to talk. Yeah.
Who taught you how to present?
Right.
That's a whole different.
Yeah. I've been talking all my life. Okay.
Since I'm 2. I've been talking since I'm 2.
Yeah.
I use that sometimes. I say you've been talking since you're 2, but who has taught you how to present?
Yes.
How to communicate your ideas?
Correct. To your benefit, particularly in the business environment.
Right.
So, yeah.
First thing that gets cut.
That's right.